the rooftop with two skies. Mila was a 12-year-old girl who lived in a tall gray building in the middle of a gray city. From her bedroom window she could see nothing beautiful, only more. Buildings, more windows, and more walls the exact color of dust. The only thing that broke the boredom of this view was a tiny green plant growing bravely out of a crack in the wall between two floors. One afternoon, curious about that little bit of green, Mila climbed the stairs, all the way to the top floor, and pushed open the heavy door to the rooftop. The rooftop was almost empty, a few broken tiles, an old TV antenna, and the wide sky above. Near the edge, she saw the source of the plant, a thin line of soil where rainwater had collected, and from it, a stubborn little stem was growing. Someone else was there too, an old man with silver hair and big round headphones over his ears. He was sitting on a stool beside a small table full of radio parts, screws, and tools. He looked up and smiled when he saw Mila. "First time up here?" he asked, taking off his headphones. "Yes," Mila answered. "I wanted to see where that plant came from." The man nodded. "I'm Harun. I fix radios. This place is my workshop." Mila looked around. "It's so empty," she said. Harun shrugged. "No one has decided what this rooftop should be, so it became nothing." Those words stayed in Mila's mind. If no one had decided, then maybe she could. The idea followed her down the stairs, into her room, and into her sleep. The next day, after school, she came back with a backpack full of things. Empty. Cans, old paper cups, and some newspapers she had taken from the recycling bin. On the rooftop, she cut the newspapers into long strips and wrapped them around the cups and cans, gluing and taping until each container looked like a small, funny pot with patterns of letters and pictures. Harun watched her with interest and finally joined in, giving her broken radio knobs and shiny metal pieces to decorate the edges of the pots. They lined the containers along the edge of the rooftop, like a parade waiting for something to happen. "Now we just need something to grow," Mila said. The next afternoon, Harun arrived with a small cardboard box. Inside were many different seeds, some big and flat, some tiny and round. "Some are flowers," he said. "Some are herbs. I've forgotten which is which." Mila laughed. "Then the garden will surprise us." They filled the paper pots with soil that Harun had saved in an old sack. Together they pressed the seeds into the earth, one by one, as if they were placing small secrets in the rooftop floor. Days went by. Every afternoon, Mila ran up the stairs to water the pots and check them. At first there was nothing but wet soil and wind. But slowly, little dots of green appeared, shy and small. Then more followed, until the rooftop was covered in tiny green sparks. When Mila stood in the middle and looked down, it felt like a second sky was growing under her feet. "We have one sky above us," she told Harun, "and one sky below us." One windy day, a torn plastic bag got stuck on the antenna. Mila climbed up, freed it carefully, and suddenly had another idea. She brought some old homework papers from her backpack, pages full of math problems and notes she no longer needed. With Harun's help, she glued, folded, and tied the papers to a light wooden frame, turning them into a big white kite. On one side she wrote, with a thick black marker, "Rooftop garden. Need seeds?" They flew the kite high above the building. It danced against the gray sky, the message large enough for other buildings to see. From balconies and windows across the narrow streets, people noticed the strange words floating above the rooftops. Children pointed, adults squinted, some took photos with their phones. The next day, when Mila opened the apartment door, she saw a small envelope on the doormat. Inside were a handful of seeds and a note, for the rooftop garden. From the 4th floor, building across, the day after that, 2 more envelopes arrived. Some were filled with seeds, others with tiny messages. "Try these, from my grandmother's balcony, good luck, rooftop kids." Soon, the once empty rooftop was crowded with pots of all shapes and sizes. Tomatoes, mint, small sunflowers, and plants Mila didn't even know the names of began to grow. Families from other buildings started visiting on weekends. Children came up holding small bags of soil, plastic bottles cut into pots, or seeds wrapped in tissue. They watered plants, shared stories, and watched the sunset together from the highest point of their street. From up there, the gray city looked different. Patches of green appeared on balconies and rooftops, like small islands in a concrete sea. Sometimes, when the wind was strong enough, other paper kites rose into the air, each carrying its own simple message or picture. One warm evening, Mila lay down between two rows of plants. Above her, the sky was slowly turning dark blue, and the first stars were beginning to shine. Around her, leaves moved gently in the breeze, making a soft whispering sound. Harun adjusted a small speaker connected to one of his repaired radios, and a distant song floated through the air, mixing with the sounds of the city below. "This rooftop used to be nothing," Mila said quietly. "Now it's a place where the whole city comes to breathe." Harun smiled, putting his headphones back on. "Sometimes," he said, "all a place needs is one person to decide it can be more." Months later, when Mila looked out from her bedroom window, she still saw tall gray buildings. But now she also noticed spots of green on many roofs, and sometimes a kite moving slowly between them. She smiled, knowing that in her life there would always be two skies, one stretched above her head, and one she had helped to grow with her own hands on a forgotten rooftop.
If you liked this story, please like the video and subscribe for more stories.